We're going to make some noise for Miss Veronica.
Thank you. Hi guys, how are y'all? So, oh man. So, I'm Veronica. Thank you, Pastor Jorge. Last Wednesday, Pastor Jorge was talking about how we settle for the pig slope. I've done that many times. I had asked Pastor Jorge if I could share my story, my testimony. I'm going to tell you right now, it's pretty bad. I'm telling you right now. When I was little, obviously, I grew up in a Christian home. My parents were together. My mom took us to church every Wednesday, Sunday. When me and my brothers would be laughing, she would pinch us. Like, do y'all get pinched at church when you're laughing at something? She would pinch us, and then we would go home with bruises on our arms. Now they would call that child abuse, right? So at the age of 13, my parents divorced. I took that very hard, being the oldest child. I was very close to my dad. I was dad's princess, his baby girl. I was hurt, obviously. When my parents divorced, they just didn't divorce each other. They put us kids in the middle to the point where we had to go to court. Me and my brothers had to testify against my parents. So it was just bad. There was one time I remember my dad literally kicked us out of our house. What father does that, right? So I was very hurt with him. I felt betrayed by him. He remarried. He started doing things with his new family. So I was very hurt, because I was like, that's my dad. And somebody else is sharing my dad, I didn't want to share him with this other family. As a teenager, I kept going to church, and I was doing good. I also did counseling with a pastor, a Christian person at our church. He was a pastor. I did counseling with him. At the age of 15, my grandmother died. My grandmother was my mom to me. We were always with her. So her death, I was able to be okay with it. I was sad, but I was okay to the point where I even sang at her funeral. And I was like, I know I'm going to see her one of these days. It's fine. I got this. My grandma was a Christian. I knew I was going to see her in heaven. But then a year later, my aunt dies. My aunt just doesn't die. She's actually with me. She dies in my arms. I didn't know how to do CPR. I didn't know she was even having a heart attack. I thought she was having a seizure because she would have seizures. I'm calling 911. They're asking me all kinds of questions. I'm like almost cursing them out because I'm like, just get here. Like, I don't even know what you're asking me. That hurt that I had turned into this anger that I can't even express to you guys. I just hated everybody. I hated the life I was living. I just hated everybody. I blamed God. I literally blamed him. I remember I said, why would you take her away from me? She's the only one I literally could turn to. And I was like, and you took her from me. Now I hate you for that. I hate you. So the hurt that I had towards my dad turned to anger as well. I hated him. So being a teenager, going through this rebellious time, my mom didn't know what to do with me because I was so bad. I started smoking weed every day of my life. I started drinking every weekend of my life because I felt empty. I was like, this is the only way I could forget about things. And so I started, like I said, smoking weed. I started hanging out with a group. We were so-called East Side Bloods. Yeah, it was kind of like a little gang. So we were wannabes, whatever. Those were my friends. Those were my homies. I lost some of my homies to drugs, to gangs, drug deals gone wrong. In 5 months, I lost 3 of my friends. Not just people that you know, these were my close friends. Close friends. One of them got killed because his dad did a bad deal, drug deal. 2 of my other friends, they were drug dealers. One of them got shot by his own guns. So, yes, I did lose my friends. I could have been one of those kids. My mom prayed for me over and over because she always thought that she was going to get a phone call that I was going to be the next one. I wasn't. Thankfully, God loved me and He took care of me through the whole time. And even though I felt like He wasn't there, He was. I was the one that walked away from God. I was the one that walked away from His truth. I knew that if I just fell to my knees and I asked God, I need you. Like, I really need you. He would just be right there. But I was so angry with Him that I wouldn't let myself. I didn't. I wore masks. In front of my friends, I would be happy, giggly, do whatever I wanted. They thought I was a happy kid. But as soon as I would go home and I was alone, all I did was cry and cry. And I wanted to die so bad. The only reason I didn't want to commit suicide is because I knew I would go to hell. That's the only reason I stopped. And I didn't want to hurt myself just because of that. So I was like, man, I wish somebody would just kill me. Because then I might have a chance to go to heaven. I might. I got into some situations where I probably could have. But thank you, Jesus. He was still there. I share this story to you guys because you're that age where I was that age where I was running around doing bad things. I felt like I wasn't worthy. I was angry with God. I let little bitty things that happened in my life control me instead of me just give it to God. As the years went on, I had an abortion. I had an abortion because I was more worried about what people would say about me than what God would think of me. At first, I was okay with it. I went with it. I did the abortion. I was like, this is okay. But now at this point, I felt there's no forgiving. God will not forgive me for this. I did the worst of the worst. I became a Christian later on in the years. And I would go to counseling still. I'm already an adult. I went to counseling. I did anger management because I was still struggling with anger really bad. And I was like, why can't I, if I'm crying to God and I'm asking Him to just take over me, why can't I just feel it? Why can't I just feel Him already? And the problem is that I couldn't forgive myself because even though my friends did what they did, and I knew it wasn't my fault, but at that time, I was like, why didn't I die like them? If I was doing almost the same thing they were doing. I had this anger and I didn't want to live, and they did. One of my friends that died, he was a good kid. Good kid. Straight A student. He was a football player. He was going to graduate. They killed him. And I was like, man, why? Why did I still have a chance? And they didn't. I don't know, but I do know that God loves me still. And the difference now from before is that now I stand on God's truth. There's a reason I am here. There's a reason I am your youth leader. Amen. And I love you guys. For the longest time, Parnell asked me to be a youth leader. I didn't want to because I felt like I was a hypocrite because of the bad things I did. And I was like, how can I go teach these kids when I've done bad things? How can I do that? But now my testimony is for you guys to hear. And I want you guys to know that right now is the time. If you're struggling with anything, anything at all, don't wait till you're like 30-something years old. I'm going to be 39 in 2 weeks. I should not wait this long. I talked to you guys about my abortion now. This year is the first year that I'm able to talk about it openly. The reason that I'm able to talk about it is because I've already forgiven myself. God forgave me a long time ago. He doesn't even remember. If I try to bring it up to him, he's like, I don't know what you're talking about, girl. That's already been erased. But Satan tries to peek in and starts reminding me, hey, this is what you did. How can you stand up there? How can you sing? How can you talk to these kids? But then I have to remind him, you're nothing. You are under my feet. And at one point, I let him control my life. This day, I will no longer let him control me at all. Yes. Sometimes my conversations with God, they're kind of funny. I think he laughs sometimes because he's like, dang, girl, you could take her out of the hood, but you can't take the hood out of her, right? Because my conversations, they're kind of funny. But sometimes there's this song, it's called Blameless. I wrote like notes. Jessica told me, she's like, you're probably not even going to use those notes. And I haven't. I'm already like on the last page. This song is called Blameless from Dara McLean. And these words from her song, the verse, it hits me. So bear with me, okay? It goes, blameless, you call me holy. I've been forgiven, you call me righteous, I'm free. Now spotless, you call me worthy. I am your child, you call me chosen, I'm yours. The reason I sing those words, what's the definition of blameless? It's innocent of wrongdoing. Like I said, God doesn't remember what I've done. He's erased it. Holy. Holy is sacred and hallowed. I'm forgiven. Forgiven is that he's pardoned me. He's delivered me from anything that holds me back. Righteous. Righteous is good and upstanding. Spotless. I am absolutely clean to God. So I encourage you guys. I ask you, today's the day. Don't wait. Don't wait till you're further out and you've done so much doing. I think sometimes if I would have asked God when I should have, maybe I would not have had the abortion. But I can't go back. So now I will talk about my abortion. I will share my story to you guys. And I hope that I could help somebody that's struggling with that decision that they're wanting to try to make. Right now, thanks to Jorge, he got me together with Bridgehaven. And I hope to one day, maybe I share my story to them. Thank you, guys.
Stay right there, right in the middle. So what I was saying earlier, young men and women, is that picture someone trying to tell Miss Vero, girl, that didn't happen to you. What you talking about? You would be like, right? No, we don't promote violence. But you're like, are you crazy? What do you mean this didn't happen to me? It did happen to me. I made it through. I overcame with the help of God. I am here standing in front of you now for His glory because He is the God of the impossible.
Yes, He is.
Can nobody tell you otherwise?
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.